Sarah did everything right. She cut out her daily $6 latte, canceled 3 subscriptions she wasn't using, brought lunch to work instead of buying it, tracked every coffee, every snack, every small purchase in an app for an entire year. She saved exactly $612 and she was still broke, still living paycheck to paycheck, still couldn't explain where her money went. Here's what nobody told Sarah and what nobody's telling you. The latte factor isn't just slightly wrong. For most people, it's actively making them worse with money. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what's really draining your bank account. And it's probably not what you think. This idea has a name and a real origin. Financial author David Bach coined the term latte factor. The theory that small daily purchases tracked and redirected into savings or investments compound into massive wealth over decades. The math isn't fake. $5 a day, invested at a reasonable return, really can become 6 figures over 40 years. That's exactly why it's spread everywhere. It's simple. It's motivating. It makes you feel like you have total control. Like the only thing standing between you and wealth is your own daily discipline. Sarah believed it completely. So she did the thing every finance influencer told her to do. She audited every small purchase, found her leaks, unplugged them. A year later, $612 saved. Same debt, same stress, same paycheck to paycheck cycle. So what went wrong? Was she just bad at this? Let's actually look at the math behind why this happened. Not just to her, but to almost everyone who tries this. Here's the number that breaks the entire theory. The average American household spends about 70% of its income on just 3 categories: housing, transportation, and food. Small spending habits like coffee or subscriptions typically account for less than 5% of total spending. Let's make that concrete. The average household spent $77,280 in 2023, including $25,436 on housing and $13,174 on transportation. That's nearly $39,000 a year on just those 2 categories. Meanwhile, even an aggressive daily coffee habit runs maybe $1,100 a year. Do the gut check math. If Sarah's real problem was a $1,100 per year coffee habit, eliminating it completely would still leave her $38,000 a year underwater on housing and transportation alone, if those were the actual issue. If you spend months agonizing over your coffee habit, you might save $180 a year. But if you spend one weekend shopping for better car insurance or moving to a slightly smaller apartment, you could save thousands of dollars every single year without changing your daily lifestyle at all. There's also a psychological trap here that makes this worse, not just neutral. Behavioral economists have found that humans have a limited amount of decision-making energy per day. If you use all that energy agonizing over lattes, you're more likely to make worse decisions on the big stuff. Sarah spent an entire year of willpower fighting a $6 coffee. That's a year she didn't spend negotiating her rent, shopping her car insurance, or questioning her car payment. The latte factor doesn't just fail to fix the problem, it actively distracts you from the 2 things that actually would have. Let's talk about what those 2 things actually are. The average new car payment in 2026 is $735 a month. Driving a reliable used vehicle instead saves $300 to $500 a month, and 2-car households that drop to 1 save $6,000 to $12,000 a year. That single decision is worth 5 to 10 years of a coffee habit, made once. Housing is the highest impact lever and also the hardest to change short term. But a roommate, house hack, or relocating to a lower cost area can free up $300 to $1,500 a month. Over 5 years, cutting housing costs by just $400 a month adds up to $24,000 in additional savings. Housing and transportation together accounted for fully half of all household spending in 2024. Half, not the coffee, not the subscriptions, housing and transportation. Now, here's the second culprit, and it's one almost nobody wants to talk about. Maybe the biggest misconception about building wealth is that it's a function of income. But research increasingly shows it's much more a function of spending habits relative to income, and the savings gap between income groups is more striking than the spending gap. Specifically, top quintile households save roughly 5 to 6 times more as a percentage of income than bottom quintile households. The primary mechanism by which wealth inequality compounds over time. Translation: you cannot outbudget a structurally low income. The bottom quintile spends 73% of income on housing, transportation, and food alone, leaving almost nothing for retirement, emergencies, or discretionary spending, while the top quintile spends only 54% on those same three categories. If your income doesn't grow, you're fighting a math problem that no amount of latte cutting solves. A raise, a better paying job, or a side income stream changes the entire equation in a way that cutting $6 purchases mathematically cannot. Sarah didn't need more discipline. She needed to look at two numbers, her car payment and her rent. She refinanced her car, saving $190 a month. She got a roommate for 8 months while paying down debt, saving another $650 a month. Combined, $840 a month, nearly $10,000 a year. That's 16 times what a year of latte cutting got her. She still gets her coffee every morning. Here's how to actually apply this in order. Pull up last month's bank statement and find your three biggest line items. Almost certainly housing, transportation, and possibly debt payments. Pick one big lever, not 10 small ones. Can you refinance a car loan, negotiate rent, shop your car insurance? Reducing restaurant spending by 2 meals a week saves roughly $1,900 a year. That's a real specific exception worth doing, but it's still smaller than one big fixed cost fix. Spend your willpower once, not daily. A single phone call to your insurance company or one weekend of apartment hunting beats 365 days of saying no to coffee. Then, and only then, look at income. Could a skill you already have become a side income stream? Even an extra $300 a month moves the needle further than any spending cut. This doesn't mean ignore small spending entirely. It means stop pretending it's the lever that matters most. Sarah's $612 a year from cutting coffee wasn't nothing, but her $10,000 a year from fixing two big numbers is what actually changed her life. The latte factor isn't a lie because saving money is bad. Satan might say that it's a lie because it points your limited willpower at the smallest problem in the room. Next video, we're breaking down exactly how to figure out if you're overpaying on the big three to housing, transportation, and food with real numbers for your situation. Subscribe so you don't miss it.